All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Got the live stream going here for the AT&T Pebble Beach 2021 here. So we'll get this updated here. So common questions wise, there actually weren't that many common questions this week. And I think that's mostly due to the fact that, honestly, this is such a spread out week to the point where there's no need to for people to had the same questions for this week. So I've kind of found that interesting. I don't know about you guys, but it is definitely an interesting week to the point where we're not really seeing that many common questions throughout the week. So to me, that kind of tells me that this is going to be a week where the spread or the ownerships are going to be pretty spread out. So I don't know, kind of a fun thing there. As you guys can see, I kind of have a new setup going, kind of tweaking it around a little bit for the live stream and just videos. I don't know. I'm just trying to work with what I got here for now. Kind of like it though. We got a new subscriber here. He's trying out the model this week. Nice, man. Tell me, let me know how you like it. I mean, best value out there, just trying to have the easiest content out there as well. Best value, and I want it to be easy to use. So hopefully you're enjoying that. But common questions wise, there's really not that much that I could find in general. I mean, the weather was a little bit of a common question. There's like 3 people that asked about that, but not much other than that. So if you want to look at weather, you can. I kind of tweeted it out earlier. See if I can pull that up on the Twitter page. No, I did on Discord chat, but I'll pull it up here as well. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull up the tweet. What's up, Infamous? How's it going, man? All right, so I got the tweet pulled up here. I just kind of want to show it to you guys real quick. So weather conditions. So here we go. So AT&T Pebble Beach weather conditions are pretty spread out as a whole for this week. Kind of strange to me, actually. I mean, we can see it right here. So Thursday, 6-mile-per-hour winds with a little bit of rain. And then Friday, supposed to get a little bit windy, up to like 15-mile-per-hour winds or so. Then Saturday, it's supposed to be rainy and, very windy. I categorize that as bad. Anything over 20 is bad. And then Sunday, right around 20-mile-per-hour gusts as well. So that is going to make this week kind of interesting in terms of weather. This is something that I probably will be bringing to the 9 to 5 stat sheet here, hopefully in the next month or so. You guys can see it here on the screen. So we see Patrick Cantlay, no surprise there. He's the best in terms of this weather. And then Jason Day. So I actually moved up Jason Day a little bit. I kind of thought he was a bad play, but just given how well he plays in kind of bad weather, I kind of moved him up a little bit. Then we can see Paul Casey decent as well. These are all the players that were listed in the high tier. So kind of like it. We can see though, Siwoo Kim, he could struggle on this one. Sam Burns, Daniel Berger kind of surprised me there as well. So a little bit worried there. Let's see. Thoughts on Seamus Power? This tournament is going to be ugly. Yes, it is. So thoughts on Seamus Power. I'll pull them up here on the 9 to 5 page. Let's pull them up on the player data sheet. Give it a second to load. All right. So, Power. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see a question about Seamus Power coming today. A little bit shocking there. We'll pull him up. I'm good with that. So yeah, Seamus Power, you can see, not really looking all too good of a play here. Overall, staff-wise, model-wise, just not looking overall like a great play. Course history-wise, hasn't played well entirely here. A made cut, 2 missed cuts, and then a made cut. I don't know. I'm just not really seeing it with him. Recent form-wise hasn't exactly been there as well. Stat-wise hasn't been there this year as well. Thoughts on Kevin Chappell? Andrew, that is a great question. So I mass entered a bunch of lineups last night using the 9 to 5 lineup optimizer there. And who was it? Sungmoon Bae or someone like that was like just getting into it a little bit too much. So I had to go back and like edit it out. And I ended up going with like Kevin Chappell a little bit as well to like as a flyer play. Stat rank, it's not going to be there for him. That makes sense. Course history rank, it's kind of there for him. 25th last year. 8th place finish in 2018, then a made cut. So he's not been bad this season as well. So I kind of get it. Kevin Chappell, I really don't mind as a play. So yeah, if you're ending up on Kevin Chappell, I'm perfectly good with it. I can't really talk you out of it. I like a couple of other value plays a little bit better. Hank Leviota, I like a little bit better. Cameron Piercy. I don't know if you guys saw his tweet. I retweeted. Actually, I'm going to pull that up because that was kind of badass of him. I don't know if you guys saw it. This is freaking hilarious. Obviously, he's going hard on Patrick Reed there. Just kind of funny, but as my favorite value play, I was pretty pumped up to see him going hard on Twitter. So kind of funny. But let's see here. Russell Knox here. I'll get into Russell Knox real quick. Russell Knox, I like as a flyer. What has it been like the last 3 weeks? He's been a decent play overall. But he's kind of hit or miss, I guess, is the best way to look at it. So he's actually a pretty good stat rank, as you guys can see here. Makes sense. There kind of struggles in par 5 scoring. Total driving's there. Bogey Boyens is there as well. He's a guy that typically does play well in bad weather conditions as well. So we look at course history-wise. Miscut last year, but then, 2 solid finishes. I know if he went back to like 2016, he had good course history as well. I only like to look at the last 4 years though. And then we look at his recent form. Recent form has been okay. 3 out of his last 4 cuts made. I'm okay with that overall as a whole. He's a fine play. Not someone I would like go out of my way to play. But in a week where we're just trying to spread out kind of our ownership across like players that can pop, I think Russell Knox fits that bill pretty well. So yeah, that's another play that I really can't talk you out of it. So best stat play. Let's pull it up. I'm going to pull it up on the cheat sheet here. Give it a second to load and I'll switch over. It's a good question. Guess I could search by model rank too on this, but I'll pull it up on the cheat sheet here. It was DJ. Let's see. You guys can't see because my camera's in the way. James Hahn was actually the top stat rank play this week with DJ out. Kind of surprising there, but you look at his stats, it kind of makes sense there. And then Matthew Naismith, then Knox, then Jim Furyk, then Zalatoris, Sink, and Cantlay. Now, once again, I do want to reemphasize this. Some of the bigger names, they play in tougher tournaments, so their stats are a little bit skewed sometimes. That's why some of these players that are playing in easier contests, their stats are a little bit inflated a little bit there. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, DFS Chef? Let's see here. Ben Martin. So Ben Martin, dude, he was actually popping in the lineup optimizer as well for me this week. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you, that Ben Martin's popping. I'm kind of worried about it. I kept him in a little bit. I think he ended up like being forced into like 3% of my builds, and I didn't know how to feel about that. I just kind of went with it. I'm like, I'll trust the data here. It's only 3%, but I didn't want to go crazy with it. So 65 for him. Now we got to look at it. So model rank, I just want to see what he ranks in the model. So 82nd in the model. Course history rank 35th though, stat rank 75, and then recent form rank 45th. So, 2 out of the 3 kind of stats that we want to be looking at, he does rank out as someone who could make the cut. For a value play to be right around someone that could make the cut stat-wise, and even model-wise, it's not that bad. So, I don't think he's a great value play. I don't think he's one I would go out of my way to make. But in a week where we are like struggling to find, decent value plays, I'm good with it. Let me see what his cut likelihood is here as well. I think it's probably going to be right around 40%. I purposely have had to reduce this projected cut likelihood that you guys see here on 95. So 50% chance to make the cut. That's not bad for 6.5. Not bad at all. If you were to play each round, who would your top player be for round 1? And okay, so that is actually something you can find on the 9 to 5 page here. You can go to like the showdown and then just kind of see top model rank play. I'm not sure if this, typically I update this on Wednesday, so I don't think it's been updated just yet. So give that a second here. Yeah, typically I update this Wednesday night, so I'm not sure if it has gone through just yet. We'll see though. Okay, so yeah, it hasn't. Let's just try it again real quick just to see. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to go through and update that later, but I can pretty much tell you right now, for showdown slate purposes, anyone that is going to be, a top, stat rank play and someone that is playing early tee time is what we're going to want to favor. Kind of just typically on the showdown, but that's what we're going to want to favor just in general for this week. That is kind of the one thing. Burgoon, no. Bronson Burgoon, no. I won't touch him at all this week. Matt Jones, though, I do love Matt Jones there. You can't really go wrong with Matt Jones in all honesty. Matt Jones just kind of looks like a stellar play here. I'll pull him up here as well. All right, so yeah, we got him pulled up here. You guys can see just overall looks like a decent play across the board. And it's kind of weird that this week a guy like Matt Jones, where he ranks 123rd in strokes gained approach, decent everywhere else. Opportunities gained like 80th. That's okay. Ball striking 51st. It's kind of crazy. 22nd ranked in stats, and then top 20 in the model this week. That's mostly due to solid course history, making 3 out of the last 4 cuts here at this event with some decent finishes mixed in there. So yeah, Matt Jones making 4 straight cuts in a row. I'd much rather go him as well. Furyk all over my crunches. Interesting. I like Jim Furyk. My problem with Jim Furyk is that Stuart Sinks right there. He's a little bit cheaper. To me, they're pretty much identical plays. And I don't know about you guys. I kind of want to gather your thoughts on this as well. Draftkings has been doing this thing where they include the Korn Ferry Tour starts and the Champions Tour starts. So someone like Jim Furyk looks like he hasn't missed a cut all year, which he hasn't. But I think he was like 13 for 13 on DraftKings. I'm like, no, like I don't care what they do on the Champions Tour. It's like cool to see them do well, but like honestly, who cares? You know what I mean? It's weird there. I don't get why they're doing it. I'm kind of annoyed with that as a whole. Who's my favorite 7K play? If we're just talking pure 7K range, I don't know if you are or not, but we'll try to get there. So 7K, I'll just go like 7.1 to like 6.9 here. Okay. Now I'll just scroll down so we can see there's a bunch of players here. Let me pull it up a little bit more for you. All right, so Brian Stewart, no, I don't really like him. Tom Hoagie, decently popping, 27th in the model. Cameron Piercy is the one that's really standing out to me, especially after his tweet, so I'm really digging him. Troy Merritt, I don't mind. I have it kind of a gut play. It's like Patrick Rogers. I think this would be a good course for him typically. I just didn't go in on him. But yeah, really for me, it'd probably be Cameron Piercy, a little bit of Troy Merritt, Tom Hoagie if you can. But yeah, that's really it for me. Nothing that I want to go crazy with in that range. I get why you're asking that because I ended up in that price point range a decent amount. If you want to go with like Sam Ryder, you could. Austin Cook, I think Cook will be right around the cut line. Brian Stewart, I'm a little bit worried about. Let me look up Yahoo real quick, Grizz there. And no problem, by the way. Let's just see who we got here because I haven't looked too much into Yahoo just yet this week. Let's see. The nice thing we all know about Yahoo and kind of Fanduel as well, and I'll get into Fanduel here in a little bit, is that we can always find a really easy value play, which kind of makes the rest of your builds awesome. Pretty much. You can normally fit in like an extra stud. So Kyle Stanley at 24, James Hahn at 24, Jim Furyk at 24. I like on Yahoo there. Let's see here. Joseph Brenlet, actually, he's 21 on Yahoo. I probably wouldn't do that, but on DraftKings, guys, Joseph Brenlet is a play that I like a decent amount for value. Decent recent form. He's a guy that hits it a ton. If he has a good week this week, it wouldn't shock me. I kind of like him sneaky value-wise. So I'm seeing Doug Gim there, $21 on Yahoo. I really don't think you can go wrong with that. I'm seeing him as the best value play right now on Yahoo by a far margin there. So yeah, I would go Doug Gim for sure. Did I say Doug Martin there? I don't know. I like him. Just reading. So it's actually tough to kind of get Patrick Cantlay and Daniel Berger into a build together. Now you can do it. I'll kind of show you the approach there. So the question is there, it's looking like a Stars and Scrubs week with Patrick Cantlay and DJ, kind of like the top dogs, checking all the boxes. You kind of wanted to force them into your builds and figure out the rest from there. So, someone like Hank Lebioda would help you do that. And the problem I'm having this year is that the optimal lineup approach has literally just been studs and duds this year. Why isn't he popping up? Oh, I had the filter still on. But yeah, the problem with this year is that literally Stars and Scrubs has been the optimal approach all but like 1 week, which has been insane. So pretty much if you just focused on like paying up for like the top 2 guys and then just played a couple of the value plays on the 9 to 5 player pool, you would be cashed in and you'd be feeling great about this year. Now, obviously, we know that's going to change throughout the year. That's not going to be something that's consistent, but it's been kind of strange that this year that has kind of been the most optimal lineup approach. All my best GPP lineups pretty much this year have been because I went out of my way to do Stars and Scrubs. And we know that's just more luck than anything else. Eventually, those values are not going to hit the way that they have been at the clip that they have been. So looking at Hank Lebioda, I do really worry about like opportunities gained and ball striking, but bogey avoidance is there. Stat rank top 40 for a guy that's 6.4. I kind of like that. Course history wise, made cut, miscut, recent form, 2 made cuts in a row. The form is descending though. So I don't like that. It's getting worse. That's the worry there with him, but still 6.4 for him. I don't mind. You could easily play him. And then I already talked about Bremlett a little bit. He's a little bit higher price, but don't mind him as a play. You could easily fit him in. He's not a good stat rank play, but we look at his finish last year at this course, 18th, and then he had an 18th place finish last week. So kind of hanging our hat on that if we're trying to do like a studs and duds approach. Once again, there's not that many quality of plays there. So to answer your question there, DFS Chef, I have been going more of a balanced approach lately. Really only 1 stud and then going balanced. I haven't really went below like Stewart Sink. Just kind of the week that we have. I do not really play tiers at all. Just something I haven't really gotten into. I probably should. I played it about twice. One of them I was like in the first place up until pretty much the last 2 holes. I forget what it was. Maybe not first place, but like a top 10. And then ended up, I don't know, finishing easily cashing. But I probably should play it more. It's just something that, I don't know, being a content provider, it's tough to do all the contests like that. You just kind of run out of time to do that. Like snake drafts on Draftkings and Fanduel I love to do, but just kind of run out of time to do all that, which is kind of unfortunate side of giving content. Any love for Nate Lashley? No, not really any love for Nate Lashley for me this week. So now we'll move on into the betting picks here, guys. So betting pick wise, interesting week in general. Hope you guys got on Patrick Cantlay early. I think he was like 10-1 to start the week on Draftkings Sportsbook. If you did that, you're probably feeling pretty good. Like Daniel Berger, I don't mind as well. A couple of those guys on the high end, I'm fine with. This is kind of a week, kind of like last week, where, it doesn't really make sense to play someone like Brooks Koepka, for instance, Draftkings wise. And I say that for a reason because with those plays, that's the nice thing about doing both of them is that you can bet them outright. So last week, if you didn't play Brooks and Draftkings, which, probably shouldn't have, not in good current form, had 1 start at that course in the last 4 years, poor staff hit, but there were some signs there that said, hey, he could have a decent week. I feel the same way about Jason Day this week, where I don't really want to play him on Draftkings at all. But betting purposes wise, this is a course where he's played well at before. He has shown some flashes of upside really in the last year or so. And yeah, I just don't mind it for him this week. So I'll pull it up here and get into it. All right, so yeah, Jason Day, 21. I kind of like that. I'd much rather chase him, I guess, than Jordan Spieth. I don't know. I just don't feel it with Jordan Spieth. Chesson Hadley, dude. Chesson Hadley there. Jeffrey has been popping for me. I'm not going to play him, but I don't know what it is. He just keeps catching my eye, is what I should say. He's not popping. He just keeps catching my eye. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm favoring a balanced approach too this week. It's just kind of just the route I think that we have to go. Yeah, with like 9K play. Yeah, pretty much that's kind of just the route that we have to go. So in the mid tier, Kevin Streelman 35-1. I feel pretty good about that. He's one of the guys that has played well in this type of weather events. I kind of posted this on the Discord chat saying that Kevin Streelman, in terms of players in the player pool, he ranks top 5 in those weather conditions that we were looking at, which is probably why he has good course history here. So 35-1 for him, I feel pretty good about. And then Sam Burns, Max Homa, I don't mind them at their price point ranges. I'm perfectly fine with that. If you guys end up on that, I'm good with it. Henrik Norlander, I'm kind of surprised that he's as cheap as this, 45-1 for a guy that has decent course history. A guy that, he typically plays a little bit better in the rain as well. I'm okay with it. I won't go crazy with it. And then, getting a little bit lower, I think there's a lot of value for this week. This is a week where typically we do see a longer shot odd type play win. It's kind of more random this week. So we can definitely chase someone like Matt Jones here at 66-1. Feel really good about that. He's almost checking all the boxes here this week. So I'm fine with him. Then go down to Matthew Naismith. This guy has shown tremendous upside. If he just kind of doesn't have that one like really horrible round that he's had kind of throughout the start of the season, he's going to be a solid play. We saw him last week where he didn't really have a bad round. He was able to have a stellar finish. He had a good finish at this course last year. He's also a top 10 stat rank play. So yeah, I actually really do like Matthew Naismith as a play. And then we can go lower as well. You could go someone longer shot odds. You could go someone like Scott Stallings, Jim Furyk. Those are both plays that I like. Good stat fits. I don't think I want to go crazy with Cameron Piercy at 150-1, but it's there. Honestly, I don't mind Joseph Brentlett if we're going to go really crazy, 250-1. I'm okay with it. I won't go crazy with it, but I'm okay with it. And then where was Stuart Sink? Stuart Sink 100-1 as well. Don't mind that. I'm good with that. But my sneaky play of the week, it's actually going to be Kyle Stanley here for you guys, 90-1. So Kyle Stanley doesn't have any course history here in the last 4 years, unless you look at the U.S. Open. Now, he only made the cut there, but still, he made the cut there at the U.S. Open. You want to see that. And then if you go back to 2016, he made the cut in 2016 as well. So if we were to factor that in, Kyle Stanley would be one of the best plays on the board this week. We're getting him at 90-1. And I don't think many people are noticing Kyle Stanley as a play, so I'm going to pull him up here as well. I'm decently liking Kyle Stanley. I don't know what it is. Honestly, I know exactly what it is, but I don't know why he was kind of priced down this low and kind of why it took me a day or so to catch him as a play. So we do worry about the strokes gain differential. We worry about the par 5 scoring, okay? But everything else is pretty stellar. For him to equal out as a top 12 stat rank play, which makes him overall a top 10 play in the model this week, I decently like Kyle Stanley, like I'm saying. Good recent form as well. 4 straight made cuts in a row over the last 6 weeks, so I'm good with that. Yeah, betting wise, yeah. Patrick Cantlay, I don't know. I kind of just don't feel like Patrick Cantley's going to win this week. I don't know, like top 10, lock it in, but I'm a little bit worried about him, honestly. Like, he is by far the best play this week, but I'm a little bit worried about it. All right, so top 40 wise, we know what I like to do. I like to look for that one guy or the plays that are plus 100. So you could start off with like Doug Gim. I'm good with that. They actually did a much better job this week. So Doug Gim, Patton Kazire, Kyle Stanley. I wouldn't say lock that in, but that would be kind of my favorite bet on the board this week is Kyle Stanley to top 40. You get plus 110 there. That just seems to me kind of just like a steal. I feel pretty good about Scott Stallings there as well. You get him at 1.38. Pretty good with that. Troy Merritt. Okay, that's where we're starting to get a little bit risky here. So, yeah, I don't have to go down that far. But that's kind of it betting-wise. There's nothing that you want to go crazy with. Like I said, I really like Kyle Stanley. He's kind of a standout play to me. And then that's kind of it. Any matchup bets that we can go with here? So let's see, James Hahn versus Brendan Steele. I would favor James Hahn in that one. Cameron Davis versus Sam Burns. Probably want to stay away from that one. I don't want to go crazy with that one. Russell Knox versus Phil, that's pretty good. Same thing with Rafa, that's pretty good. I would definitely favor Scott Stallings over Michael Thompson here. And, let's just pull that one up. Then I'll get into Kevin Streelman versus Brent Snedeker. We'll start out with Thompson versus Stallings. So honestly, guys, this is one of the cool things that I like about the 9 to 5 Sports page. It makes comparing plays very, very easy, if I can remember it. So who was it? Michael Thompson and Scott Stallings. There we go. So we can see here pretty easily, pretty visually, Scott Stallings, a much better play than is Michael Thompson there. There we go. So yeah, Scott Stallings ranks out really well in the model. I'm not exactly sure I would go that crazy with it because his recent form hasn't been the best, but everywhere else, great course history, great stat fit. That's kind of why he's ranking out that well. But Michael Thompson, horrible in the model rank this week, so I'd much rather favor him. And then we had Kevin Streelman versus Brent Snedeker. So I'll pull up Streels, and then I'll get Snedeker in there as well. Is it just because the Snedeker is like good course history? I mean, that could be. I mean, guys, Streelman is that good of a play that we can barely see him. Now, that means that Streelman is going to miss the cut because, he's kind of just the best play on the board given his price point, given his like total value, fantasy projections minus his or divided by his salary. He is pretty much the best value that we're getting this week. So that usually means that he's going to miss the cut. We can just pretty much lock that in. But great course history, good enough recent form throughout his last 4 cuts made. And Snedeker has just been struggling. I don't want to say lock it in because Snedeker has played decently at this course in the past, but I'm definitely favoring Kevin Streelman there matchup bet wise. Let's see if we got any other ones. Max Homa or Jordan Spieth? That is interesting. So let's pull that one up here as well. So Jordan, honestly, guys, I think that when Jordan plays well, it's more electric than when Tiger is playing well. Maybe that's just because Tiger has been playing well recently, or I guess since he's come back from his injury, and Jordan's just really struggled, so that when he does go out and play well, he's normally contending. But honestly, I'm so much more in tune when Jordan is doing well rather than when Tiger has been doing well recently. Maybe that's just because, we're a little bit spoiled with how well Tiger's been. But so we can see here, Max Homa 37th ranked in the model, and then Jordan is 91st. Now we know why that is. Jordan's been a horrible stat fit, but his course history is elite. But Max Homa isn't that far off. So if we're really just banking on Jordan Spieth's slightly better course history than Max Homa, I'm not exactly sure we'd want to do that because overall Max Homa has been better recently. 42nd, 18th, and then 21st, and then like 12th, and then another 20th place finish. So he's been really good. You can say last week was a little bit of a downer week for him. And then Jordan, one good round. Okay. I think Jordan is the type of player, he's a veteran where he's been playing golf his whole life. We know that he was an elite player at one time. He can kind of go off and have those random good rounds in a random tournament. I'd much rather bet on the guy that's been much more consistent recently that has equally as good of course history. And I believe he's a better stat rank play as well. I mean, they're both not that great, yeah. But Jordan's 107th and he's 79th. So yeah, I'd much rather bet Homa than Jordan there as well. Any other ones here real quick that are popping up? Matt Jones over Brian Harmon. I'd probably do that one, but that's kind of it. Let's see if we can get into the FanDuel picks here. Wait a second. So I did some rearranging. Give me a second here. The charger fell. That's not good. So, probably only have about 5 more minutes here. Interesting. Let's see. 10 minutes of battery. Nope. Let's see. I see it. All right, give me a second, guys. This is going to look weird on a live stream. I apologize. Just kind of going to be what we have for this one. Give me a second. Yep, no, that's not going to work. Not going to work for the live stream right now. It's tangled on some cords, so I'll just wait until after this. So I'll be getting out of here in about 5 minutes now, guys. Do apologize for that. It's just going to be the way it is. You know, I gotta plug it in. I do. I gotta plug it in. It's not working right now. How about that for some drama? Wow. That's crazy. So that kind of killed the stream here, I'm noticing, because the battery was low. That's a first. Note to self, never let your battery go low while you're live streaming. That's a first. But we'll get into the FanDuel picks real quick here. And then we'll kind of be wrapping it up. All right, so real quick, you can easily fit in Patrick Cantlay in this one if you want to. I'm favoring Paul Casey over Daniel Berger now that the week has gone on. So you can easily fit those two into your builds pretty easily there. Thoughts on Hubbard? I'm not really feeling Hubbard this week. Wouldn't talk you off of him, though. So, yeah, Paul Casey, Cantlay there to start off. Then let's see here. Pat and Kazira I'm fine with, but I think we can find some better plays down low. So, Kyle Stanley, you could go Theoric. And, I don't think we'll have to go this low, but we could if we wanted to. Let's see. Where's the sync? 8.6. So, pretty easy. And then we can fit in Burns. We can fit in Davis. We can fit in Struman. Ricky, I think, will make the cut. You could go Phil. There's a lot of options you could go with here. I feel pretty good about it. Wow, that is awesome. So let's actually see if we can fit in Daniel Berger with these guys. Let's try it here. So Daniel Berger, 7.7. Pretty much locking in the top 3 plays and then some quality plays here. Let's see. Ventura, no. This is tough. Hank Lebioda, Labs, let's get him in there. Then we can go up from sync a little bit. Not bad. This is going to be decent. I think Lebioda will be right around a made cut. That's kind of my thing there. Then you can go with Knox. Put Knox in there? It's okay. That's okay. I mean, not bad. I'll take it. Good enough. Yeah, that's not a bad build on FanDuel there. I'm good with it. Pretty decent overall there. So we can get into a little bit of lineup construction talk here. We already got into it a little bit. And I'll be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes or so. So lineup construction wise, we already touched on it a little bit, but I like to dive down into it a little bit more. So max entering wise, I touched on this on the 9-to-5 right up there. It's available on the membership page, but for me, I really factored in a ton of variance this week. Okay. I think I was at like 30% ownership spread out across the builds. So I didn't want to have any more than 30% ownership to one player. That's because the percent cut likelihood is very small this week across the board. On the 9-to-5 sports page, I had it listed that there was 4 players listed above 70% likelihood to make the cut. 1 player listed above 80% likelihood to make the cut. That was Patrick Cantlay. DJ was like 96%, but he's out. So there's going to be a lot higher variance this week, which if you do get a lineup with 6 for 6 across the cut line, you should be set up for a really solid week. So honestly, these are typically the weeks that I want to attack a little bit more, factor in that variance, because we know we're going to be on the right plays. It's just a matter of what percent ownerships we have to those plays. Should a guy that's mid-exposure play, he might have been... It's just a lot different. So like it's harder to grade players out as a core play, high exposure play, low exposure play, or value play, because there's just a lot more variance when it's that tighter, when every player has a little bit of risk, where, in other weeks in majors pretty much, you can really find the players that are checking all the boxes, and sometimes that list goes deep, kind of like last week where there's like 10 players that were just phenomenal plays. This week we have like 1 player, which is crazy. And then we have about like 4 that are decent enough. So for me, max entering wise, really spread out the ownership, factored in, most likely to get, 5 out of 6 is kind of what I'm shooting for with those lineups. And then cash wise, we already touched on it. Definitely want more of a fair and balanced approach. You can make a pretty solid build this week going fair and balanced. I'm okay with it. But if you want to do kind of factor in a miscut approach this week where, you're paying up for Patrick Cantlay and then factoring in just like a horrible play, not even really thinking about it, and putting in a miscut in there to try to get 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 6 with pretty much a guaranteed top 10 finish, then you could easily do that as well. I'm going to be good with that approach as well. And then final thoughts. So, final thoughts are, when I do a rearranging again here, going to have to make sure my computer is plugged in. I kind of killed the stream there for a good, 30 seconds, a little dramatic there. Kind of fun though. You guys can see here, went skiing last week, had on new skis there, some fun times, but it was like negative degrees out. Honestly, I was skiing in lower degree weather than like my golfers were golfing. Chris Kirk and freaking, who was the other one now? John Howe were +6. I would have loved to have +6 weather. And instead it was like freaking negative 30 degree weather, which was insane. But final thoughts, cash wise, I probably wouldn't play too much. I would try to, kind of factor in a little bit of upside, because if you do have a miscut, but you have a guy that top 10s, kind of like last week where I had a build with 3 out of 6. It was like Xander and Carlos Ortiz though. So if one of them would have won, I would have cashed. Okay. So I think that's can be an approach that you go with this week, is kind of factor in a little bit more upside this week than you kind of would any other week. And then if you guys want to, definitely check out the 9 to 5 sports page. $10 a month for that. Having the lineup optimizer going still for $10 a month. Really easy to use. Have all the tools broken down for you guys. And then the Discord chat as well. $10 a month for that. So great value out there for you guys. But that's really all I have for you guys for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the new setup, kind of the new look. I think it was a little bit more fun. Maybe I'll add in some new padding here, but a little bit more room to operate, so much more room for activities. But that's all I have for you guys.